If you think that bread is automatically bad for your blood sugar levels, this video might change how you see it. Because not all bread affects your body the same way. Some spike your blood sugar levels fast and worsen insulin resistance, while others, when chosen and eaten correctly, can fit in a blood sugar friendly lifestyle. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 best breads for blood sugar. The same ones that we have recommended thousands of people who have gone through our programs and seen fantastic improvements in their blood sugar levels. The real issue isn't bread itself. It's how processed it is, how fast it hits your bloodstream, what you pair it with, and your current levels of insulin resistance. When you understand that, you stop fearing food and start making decisions that actually improve insulin sensitivity over time. So I'll go ahead and break down the best options, why they work, and how to eat them strategically. And of course, if you want our free meal plans that help you reverse insulin resistance, go ahead and comment guide below this video and I'll send them your way. They are 100% free. All right, let's go ahead and get started with the bread that surprises most people. Number 1, authentic sourdough bread. This is the bread that people always ask about. Jose, why do people eat bread when they go to Europe and feel completely fine? But when they come back to the United States and eat the same bread, their blood sugar goes crazy. They feel foggy and bloated. Now, I'm not going to pretend that all European bread is magical. A lot of factors are actually involved here. Wheat varieties, processing, additives, fermentation time, portion size, the rest of the meal components, and overall lifestyle factors. But there's one thing that we can say confidently. Real, authentic sourdough behaves metabolically different than commercial standard bread. Why, you may be asking? Well, because the fermentation process changes the bread entirely before you even eat it. When flour and water ferment slowly with wild yeast and bacteria, acids are produced. That right there lowers the pH of the bread and changes how quickly it digests. That matters because a slower digestion usually means a slower rise in your blood sugar levels and less insulin demand. And that's exactly what a lot of the sourdough research suggests. Compared to regular bread, sourdough tends to elicit a lower blood sugar and insulin response. And that's a big deal because it's one thing for a food to give you a lower blood sugar spike, but it's another thing entirely when your pancreas doesn't have to produce all that insulin to meet the demands of the food that you just ate. That means less metabolic stress. And part of the reason this happens is fermentation itself. Fermentation can increase organic acids, which slows down digestion. It also reduces some of the rapidly available sugars. It increases the formation of resistant starches. And in some cases, it makes the bread easier to tolerate digestively. So if you're going to eat bread, sourdough is one of the better options. Of course, if it's authentic. That means flour, water, and salt. Long fermentation process, no weird additives or synthetic preservatives, and ideally from a bakery or a trusted source. And the way that you eat it matters as much as the bread itself. Don't eat sourdough by itself and on an empty stomach and then wonder why your blood sugar jumped. Pair it with protein, fiber, healthy whole food toppings, and ideally some vegetables or fruit on the side. For example, 1 slice of sourdough with mashed chickpeas, some lime and tomatoes on top, sourdough with avocado and a big side salad, or sourdough with a lentil soup instead of bread being the whole meal. And that's how you make bread work with your physiology instead of against it. Number 2, sprouted grain bread. If sourdough is the most interesting bread metabolically, sprouted grain bread is probably the most practical one. This is one of the easiest breads to find that can support your blood sugar levels better than conventional bread. Why, you may be asking? Well, because sprouting changes the grain before it becomes bread. When grains are sprouted, enzymatic activity increases. Some starches begin to break down, nutrient availability changes, and the overall structure of the grain becomes different than the standard flour-based bread. This often results in a bread that has more fiber, more protein, more intact whole grain structure, and of course, lower glycemic impact than standard white bread. And for your blood sugar, that combination matters a lot because you want food that moves more slowly through your digestive system, not food that turns into glucose in 5 minutes and floods your bloodstream. Sprouted grain bread also tends to be more filling. That might sound like a small benefit, but it matters. When a bread actually satisfies you after eating, you're less likely to keep grazing, less likely to go looking for something sweet 45 minutes later, and less likely to create a glucose roller coaster that makes the rest of your day way harder. Now, not all sprouted breads are good. Some of them just use the word sprouted as marketing. What you want is actually a bread where sprouted grains are the main ingredients, not enriched flour with a little bit of sprouted grains to sound healthy. A true sprouted bread should feel denser, more substantial, and more nutrient rich than standard bread. This is one of my favorite bread options for breakfast. For example, 2 slices of sprouted grain bread, mashed chickpeas or hummus, some berries on the side, maybe a sprinkle of cinnamon on your berries, or you can do an avocado chickpea mash and add some tomatoes and microgreens on top. That's a completely different metabolic experience than toast with butter and jam. Same category of food, completely different outcomes. I personally buy Ezekiel bread. It's highly nutritious, flourless, low fat, low sodium, sugar-free, and made from sprouted whole grains and legumes. And again, if you want help with structuring your meals so you know exactly what to eat to reverse insulin resistance, go ahead and comment guide below and I'll send you a free meal plan. And bread number 3, 100% whole grain pumpernickel or dense rye bread. This one usually flies under the radar, but it deserves its own place in this conversation. Real pumpernickel bread or dense rye breads tend to be lower on the glycemic impact to your blood sugar when compared to standard fluffy white breads, usually because of its grain structure, fiber content, and slower digestibility. Now, the key word here is real, not soft brown bread pretending to be healthy. I'm talking about dark, dense, heavy bread made from whole rye or coarsely ground grains. This matters because whole grain breads are usually harder for your body to break down quickly. And when digestion slows down, glucose enters your bloodstream at a much slower pace. That means a lower spike, lower insulin demand, and a steady energy curve. Pumpernickel is also satisfying in a way that white bread isn't. You usually don't eat 6 slices without thinking. It's very filling. You eat 1 or 2 paired with real food and you're done. And that's a massive advantage for your blood sugar levels. So how do we use pumpernickel bread? Again, not by itself. You can eat 1 slice with some hummus, cucumbers, and tomatoes, 1 slice with mashed avocado and some greens, or 1 slice with a lentil soup or some bean chili on the side. This is a good brand right here. 5 or 6 ingredients maximum. Don't go for the ones that have a laundry list of additives and synthetic preservatives. So, which bread is the best? If I had to rank them for blood sugar support, I would say the following. Number one, authentic sourdough bread, because fermentation changes the glucose and insulin response in a meaningful way. Number two, sprouted grain bread, because it's practical, satisfying, and often a strong everyday option. And number three, real pumpernickel or dense rye bread, because it's a slower digesting and usually much better for your blood sugar than white bread. But here's the real truth. The bread matters, but the rest of your meal matters more. You can take the best bread in the world and make it a bad blood sugar meal if you pair it with high amounts of saturated fats, little fiber, and no movement after your meal. Or you can pair it with beans, vegetables, fruit, post-meal walking, and an overall diet lower in saturated fat, and get a very different result. This is the reason why in this channel, we never reduce diabetes to one food. We focus on the root cause, insulin resistance, because bread is not the whole story. The full story truly is how insulin sensitive are your cells? How much excess fat is clogging your muscle cells and your liver cells? How much fiber are you eating? How much are you moving? Those are the real game changers. So you do not have to fear bread forever. But you also can't ignore that most bread sold nowadays is highly processed, fast digesting, and metabolically harmful. So if you're going to eat bread, be intentional. Choose authentic sourdough, real sprouted grain bread, and dense whole grain rye or pumpernickel. And of course, pair those with meals that improve insulin sensitivity, not worsen it. That is how you enjoy food and move your numbers in the right direction. Again, you're not going to regret getting our free guide with 3 meal plans to choose from, actually. So go ahead and comment guide below and I'll send it your way. It's free. If this video helped you, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. And please share this video with someone who might need help lowering their blood sugar levels. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.